Good evening, graduates, families, Arcadia Unified staff, and other distinguished guests. My name is Zachary Jeremiah Jun, and I have had the privilege of serving as the senior president of the class of 2024.
Knowing that I'm not going to wake up here every day anymore. I'm not going to be in Arcadia every day anymore. It's exciting, but it's sad.
Get the Rizzler, bro.
I didn't even read it. Because like the requirements of secretary are different.
Oh my goodness. Whatever I know.
Who are you? My name is Lucas. I've been at AUSD for all 13 years, including kindergarten. A lot of people forget that kindergarten is a year. I went to Highland Oaks Elementary and then went to Foothills and obviously ended up at Arcadia High School.
Hi, my name is Amrita. I've been in AUSD for 13 years, K through 12, and I went to Hugo Reed Elementary and Foothills Middle School.
My name is Joshua Chen. I've been at Arcadia Unified School District for 13 years. I went to Highland Oaks Elementary School and Foothills Middle School.
I was born on September 17th, 2005. I was born in Glendale, California, so not too far from Arcadia. I was the first child, so my sister and then my brother all came later. Both my parents attended AUSD too. I followed the exact path my dad took. He went to Highland Oaks, Foothills, Arcadia. My mom went to Longley, First Ave, then Arcadia. And they kind of intersected there. My mom was in orchestra as a violinist from 4th to 12th, same as me. It's weird thinking that the schools that I've been to, some of the same ground I've stepped on is where my parents had the exact same experience growing up in high school. It's something that I think is really cool, that there are two generations of us who've gone to Arcadia High. I've been friends with Josh for 13 years now. He's definitely been my longest, closest friend.
So Lucas and I met in kindergarten. I don't remember much of kindergarten because it was so long ago, but me and Lucas have been friends ever since. It's a very long time.
We were in Miss Felipa's class, and I remember meeting him, and I forgot why we clicked so well. I mean, we both love Star Wars. I remember how much he loved it. He knew a whole nother level, more than me. I remember asking him to be my friend, and he said never. 13 years later, look how we are now.
I remember in elementary school, I wouldn't hang out with Lucas too much, but I remember he'd always play tag at the playground like every single day. That's what I remember. And then we had the same 4th and 5th grade teacher, Miss Mejia and Miss Bertelson, or Miss Wayne. is Batman. Yeah, that was pretty fun. Our 5th grade class was pretty, had a pretty good lineup, if I were to say. And then in middle school, we had the same enrichment class with Miss Kwan.
I remember sometimes it would just be me and him. We'd play games, talk about whatever is happening in our lives. I think that's what really made us click, the fact that we can just hang out and it would never get boring.
There's one time in enrichment class, that might have been the day Lucas found out that I was colorblind. We were like coloring something, I forgot what it was. But then I asked him, oh, why'd you color this brown? Like it should be like green or something. And then Lucas said, bro, this is green. And then I couldn't tell at all. So that's probably when he found out I was colorblind. We had PE together in 7th grade, Mr. DePry. But yeah, we just messed around in that class a lot.
Josh has always been someone that's just stuck by my side. I think that's why we've been friends for so long, because sometimes we've only had each other. Sometimes even now, I find myself just hanging out with him.
I don't plan on not being friends with Lucas anytime soon. So hopefully this will last forever.
He's someone who's definitely gonna stick with me for the rest of my life. And I'm glad, because I think a lot of people kind of don't have that friendship as long as we've had ours, and I'm super grateful for that. First day of 6th grade, I was kind of terrified. I'm being completely honest, because whole new school. It's the first time I really transitioned from elementary to middle, so that jump, it was something I wasn't really used to. And the fact that there'd be a whole new group of kids from Hugo Reed was kind of daunting to me. And of course, in my class, I ended up with really none of my friends. It was mostly Hugo Reed kids. But I remember meeting Amy that day. I think we crossed paths some years before, but I didn't remember. She remembers that.
I met Lucas in 6th grade. We had our humanities classes together. So I was with him for like 3 periods out of the day. And I don't know, it was really easy for me to be friends with him. Like, I think our humor matched up, like we always were laughing around each other. It was just such an effortless friendship.
I just remember we kind of clicked instantly. Our humor kind of overlapped. We definitely were friends. I wouldn't say we were close friends, but we were friends. Orchestra was probably the biggest part of that, because that was the one class where we would see each other on trips, where we would hang out sometimes. So
orchestra was split into 2 periods. We were in different periods, but we had combined rehearsals, concerts, obviously. So I think just knowing that someone in my humanities class was also in orchestra was just an easy way to get bonded. And with Lucas, I noticed that he was just very outgoing. It was so easy to talk to him.
But then I remember quarantine happened. I remember talking to her on that day about quarantine and how excited I was to get the hell out of there, you know. But I remember I was so surprised with how lonely I felt over quarantine, because I definitely had individual close friends in middle school, but I never had a big group. So most of the time I was by myself, really. So I got lonely really quickly over quarantine. And then one day out of nowhere, I don't even remember how it happened, we started texting again over Discord. And slowly, I think that quarantine is what really brought us together as close friends. I remember we watched the whole Stranger Things. At the time, it was only seasons 1 to 3, and we watched the whole thing over quarantine online with each other, because it was a show I loved. It was a show she made fun of me for loving.
So every Friday night we would call and watch 1 or 2 episodes, and if you've watched Stranger Things, you know that it's a huge show. 3 seasons of that is crazy. I guess he knew me so well because he was Steve Harrington. No spoilers, but he was you're gonna love Steve. And at first I was this Steve guy's a jerk. And then eventually Steve became my favorite character. And I guess it just goes to show how well Lucas knows me and just how well we understand each other.
In between, we would have really deep talks about friendship and relationships and how we would go about life if this quarantine would ever end. And then into high school, orchestra again was the biggest factor in bringing us together. We also had 2 big friend groups overlapping each other. It was always us consistently, me and Amy, hanging out with those 2 friend groups, and that brought us even closer. And now she's one of my closest friends.
And now he's one of my best friends, unfortunately. I'm just kidding.
She said, I'm a bird first in school. And then she said, I'm a hernia instead of I'm here. And then she
So senior assembly was where they announced valedictorian, where they announced baccalaureate speakers. The whole senior class was required to go to this assembly at the North Gym. Seeing everyone alongside me was really strange in a way, because I think it was the first time we actually had an assembly where it was only seniors. Mr. Vo also gave us a lot of information of how to graduate, how to keep our stance in graduation so we won't screw up or do something stupid towards the end. I remember for valedictorian, there were a lot of people I thought that could have been valedictorian. I remember certain names getting passed around a lot, but for the whole time I was really cheering for my friends.
I'll be completely honest, senioritis hit me pretty hard, and so even though I started my valedictorian application the first day it was out, I didn't submit it until close to midnight the day before, only because senioritis hit so hard. I was studying for like AP exams too because I was taking those. So no, I did not think it was going to be me, and it's not really something I went out to talk to people about, like, hey, I'm applying, are you applying? Because that kind of, I felt like that wasn't the vibe.
It was a humongous moment. I remember hearing everyone getting super excited when they were about to announce valedictorian. I remember Mrs. Dillman had the mic and she was just trying to rile up the crowd. And then she called Casey Kim down.
Congratulations, Casey Kim!
Casey's name was the one I heard passed around the most, and it ended up being true. He was our valedictorian. I don't know him personally, so I can't speak on how he is as a friend, he is as a colleague, but I know that he definitely did deserve it. He had so many accomplishments, so many achievements.
Honestly, Casey's been so involved. Like, he does so much stuff. I can't even begin to like get into it. So I was like really happy for him because we're friends, and when I saw his name up there, I was like, oh yeah, I know this is gonna be a fire speech.
For baccalaureate speakers, that's when I started getting excited because my friends were the ones that ended up getting picked. They chose 3 speakers. It was Patience, Michelle, and Sophia. And I was really rooting for Michelle and Sophia. Sophia was on Gov team with me, so she was someone that I knew. We're not close or anything, but I was rooting for her just because she's such a nice person, someone who I cannot understand how energetic she is.
Hi guys, welcome back to our vlog. Hi guys, we're gonna go on a Ferris wheel. Jumping jacks on 3. Keep up with my rhythm, okay? 5, 6, 7, 8. Do it with me!
But Michelle was my friend that I was rooting for the most, and I'm so glad that they chose her as a speaker. I met Michelle as my stand partner in Orchestra. I actually remember being so disappointed that I had to sit next to her because I didn't know her before, so I thought she was really annoying. But I remember after meeting her, she ended up being super nice and super humble for the most part. I have no idea why I thought she was annoying. And I know that she's a great speaker, great writer, so I knew she would put on a great speech.
My first thought was, oh my gosh, like, it's me, that I'm gonna speak. And then my second thought was, oh, darn it, I actually have to speak. It was kind of like immediate happiness, and then suddenly like, okay, I've gotta focus, I've gotta memorize my speech, fix it up, and then the rest was all right.
So that same day was yearbook distribution at the Quad, and it was after school. So thankfully they just all let us out, and then we just grabbed our yearbooks right there, since the North Gym is just right there. Are you sad that we're going to be graduating soon?
A little bit.
9 days left now.
I'm sad on the inside.
You're on the left. No, switch it up. It makes it more entertaining. 8 days of senior year left. How does it feel?
It's pretty crazy, man. Like at the senior assembly, it's all feeling a little too real right now. But I'm pretty excited to graduate.
So the way I describe my friends, I would really say I have 2 main friend groups, and this is one of them.
Kyle, describe your high school life.
Oh, there's Lucas.
That's not, Lucas is not your high school life. Kind of like being a certified car owner.
Car owner?
Yeah, now that you own a car, how does it feel? How does it feel?
Cool.
Cool?
I can drive.
How does it like being with the guy
Hey, no paparazzi.
the yearbook room?
It's so funny, man.
Oh.
She won't be answering any questions. Is that Lucas the blogger?
The group originated on its own a while ago before I joined. I was actually later in joining their group. Half of them met at Hugo Reed. I think Hibiki, Alvin, Amy, they all met in Hugo Reed. And then once Foothills came, the Highland Oaks people then joined, like Kyle, Lance, Darren, and they became their own group. I knew some of them individually. I knew Lance from Highland Oaks. I knew Kyle from Highland Oaks. I knew Darren a little bit, so I knew most of them a little bit. But I didn't know all of them until I joined their group because of Amy.
I don't think I've ever been sad at lunch, like, around them. They make it hard to be sad.
What's your name?
What's up, everybody?
What's your
I'm
name?
BBQ Hall.
Middle name?
Back at it with
Middle
another
name, please.
video.
Middle name, please.
Ryland.
Okay, how's your day been?
What?
How's your day been? Do you feel like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how gnarly are you?
I'm feeling gnar. Like almost elite.
Okay.
Well, we were all in elementary school, but I was at a different one. I was at Hugo Reed, right? With Amy, I had Daniel, I had Alvin.
Oh, you stopped as soon as
I had Matthew in 5th grade.
Oh, yo, this is cool. This is kind of cool. All right, let's go.
Alessandro.
Oh my god. He's like, you can play if you want, but I don't want to get hurt.
We were all pretty good friends, even back then. And then moving into middle school, I don't really know how it happened. We just kind of all came into like the same group. We joined with Leong, Kyle, Lance. I didn't talk to Lance until like maybe high school.
I was just friends with Lucas for a long time, so I just stuck with him. And Lucas, I remember, started hanging out, talking to Emerita a lot. Emerita was always talking to like Hibiki, Daniel, and all of them. We just kind of merged with them.
Is there a backpack right here? Yo!
All I remember is that we had this one lunch spot by the dance room next to the pack. And it was me, Amy, Josh, and one of our old friends, Ivy.
Lucas and Emerita texted me like, "Oh, come to the pack. We're eating lunch here." And then everyone else kind of joined in on us.
Beaky, Lance, Kyle, everybody was there.
We didn't really ask them to come, but like, they just came anyway.
It was weird at first because I didn't know a lot of them. I mean, some of them I did, like I said, but I hadn't talked to in a while. So it was a little awkward at first, but then slowly we started really to get each other, and I felt like I was a major part of their group. I felt assimilated with them. Throughout high school, that was the spot we ate in almost every single day. That was kind of what became our hub, where we kind of all met together before school, after school sometimes.
And we just never left that spot for all 3 years of in-person high school.
It was just close to the orchestra room, so like for me, I could like go between like all the people that I knew, kind of like from there to the orchestra room, go back. It was honestly like the furthest away from my 4th period class. Like every single year, that was the furthest class.
So many memories at this spot, so many stains. I think we left a lot of crap there.
Some of the definitely more memorable moments are whenever Lance spills food.
Or what about like when he like spilled that giant puddle of milk? Yeah, I remember that one.
The dance teacher got mad. Sorry, Miss Tedford.
I think it was Daniel. No, it was maybe Matthew. I don't know who it was. They got me to laugh and they got me to spill the milk. So it wasn't all on me, you know? I think you forget a lot of history there.
Everyone always talks about the Lance eating Matthew sandwich story, which I wasn't there for, so I can't personally attest to how funny that was.
So he saw that sandwich, he was like, crap, can I have that? And me and Kyle were like, do you want it? We never implicitly said that he can't have it, we just kind of said, do you want it? Kyle said, do you want it? And, you know, they still blame me for that. They still put all the blame on me. And Matthew came back, and I've never seen that guy more pissed in his life. He was like, who ate my sandwich? And everyone was like, ooh. And I was like, no, Matthew. I had to explain myself. Matthew, I didn't eat the sandwich. They told me to. They said, you want it? Oh, that was a great time, though.
The water bottles on top of the beam.
I remember me and Josh, we started a water flipping collection over there because in this gigantic beam, there's like a space where you can flip stuff into. So we flipped like, I think 7 bottles in there.
Look at that improvement. I did that one. That one. But the Pringles can was popular. Yeah.
And then one day, like, they just disappeared. I don't know who took them down, but it's not cool, man.
I think versus my other friend group, I think what makes this group so unique in its own way is that we all kind of just totally insult each other all the time, but at the same time, we know how much we care about each other.
Like obviously, sometimes humor gets a little bit too serious or something's taken the wrong way. If you ever have a problem or if you're ever feeling lost, you need some support, there's people that will just listen to you talk and yap for like hours and hours.
Honestly, what makes us so unique is, well, A, obviously the time. We've spent all these years together. We have all these inside jokes, you know, like I'm not gonna mention some of them, but
it happened that like we all have similar characteristics and we just clicked with each other.
Everyone's always there for each other, and when times get tough, I've never felt more loved than any time else.
Just having people around you to talk to and be vulnerable with is so special.
I was always more of an outsider to their group because I came much, much later than most of the guys did. I think for me, the moment that really binded me to them was when Alessandro passed away. I remember my mom was telling me she heard some rumor because she's part of PTA, that a kid of a custodian at Arcadia passed away. And it made me think of Alessandro because I knew that his parents were both custodians at Arcadia. I didn't think it could actually be connected in any way. I mean, that's just a weird coincidence, right? I mean, I could never think that he passed away. I mean, I just saw him like a week ago. I remember seeing him. He came into my calc class one time and we talked for a little bit. So I just saw him, so there was no way that that news was connected to him. I had a violin lesson that day, so once I came out, I remember on the way back, when we were driving back, I just remember seeing the email from Mrs. Dillman, and it said that Alessandro just passed away.
That kind of came out of nowhere. Like I think all of us still remember like what we were doing when we heard.
I was at the gym, and for the past 3 years, I've been taking very high volumes of antidepressants. So I actually didn't cry for that, and I felt like that was something I still regret to this day.
I think my first action after that was I called Habiki because I knew they were like really close before our whole friend group, and I was like, "Are you okay? Is everything doing good?"
5th grade, we became friends. Up until quarantine, he was definitely the one I talked to the most, because back in 5th grade, I just got a PlayStation 4, and he had one for a while too, and I don't know how the conversation came up. You know, it was 5th grade, we were probably talking about games or something. He's like, "Do you have PlayStation?" And I'm like, "Yeah, do you?" And he's like, "Let me get your tag." And I'm like, "All right, sure, like we'll see what happens." And bro, like every night from then on through middle school, like every night we were just playing games. I was at practice when it happened. Yeah, drumming. It's like the one day I had my notifications on for some reason. So I got an email ping, and I read it, and I just couldn't. I just kind of sat there. I don't know. It was like people asked me what happened, and I just didn't really respond. Like I was just kind of sitting there.
I remember feeling really weird after that. Not like I didn't really feel anything, because I've dealt with death before. My grandpa, pets, yeah, but it's different when someone dies when they're not supposed to.
Like thinking back, it seemed plausible. Like it wasn't impossible that it happened, because the week or so prior to the email being sent out, I remember he wasn't at school and I never saw him in the mornings, because I usually see him in the mornings at our lunch spot, but then I just didn't see him. And then one of his friends just texted him like, "Yo, are you doing okay? Like you haven't been at school for a few days." And then he said, "Oh yeah, I'm okay. I'm just sick right now." Something like that. And then like the day after was when the email was sent out.
To me, Alessandro was someone pretty integral to our group. I remember he was the one that would always be there. Sometimes some of us wouldn't be there because we were busy with certain stuff on certain days, but he was the one that was always there. Personally, I wasn't the closest to him. Hibiki was definitely his closest friend, but he was such a nice guy. I think he was a little bit of the heart of our group just because of how nice he is, how sweet he was. And he was funny. He had one of the best laughs out of any of my friends, one of the most memorable laughs. And I remember this one time we went bowling for Darren's birthday. I had just had shoulder surgery, so I was in a cast, or I was in a sling still. So I was forced to bowl with my left arm, and I still beat him. I still have a picture of the score somewhere. And I remember telling him, I'm never gonna let you forget that.
He was the type of friend, like, anything is comfortable, like, the silence or like anything you say. There's never a time where you don't want to be around him because he has such a nice presence.
He was definitely someone I was really close to and someone that I do cherish.
He was a good friend, but I wasn't super close with him. But every time I see him, I feel like he's always smiling. He seems like a very happy person.
God, the next day it was tough. Probably one of the toughest days of my life. Probably, that's not an understatement. I just remember feeling so weird because most of my classes didn't address it. I remember in orchestra, I'm really happy about this because Miss Chen actually brought it up because she knew Alessandro's mom. So I'm really glad she brought it up. She brought a donation bin around, but me and Amy are in orchestra, and I remember she was devastated, as she should have been, because she knew Alessandro all the way back from elementary. She knew him a lot longer and a lot closer than I did. Seeing her for the first time that day was awful.
That was a hard day. Lunch, it was just quiet. Like, no one said a whole word for like the whole hour.
Like, everyone was just thinking about like how he was here one day and then now he's gone forever. It's hard for us to like accept that.
Amongst our group, I think we were very sullen about it. We all sat in that same spot like normal where we'd all sit, and we just gave a moment of silence to him.
I remember after school we all went to this food court next to, I think it's Sunright. But I remember we all went there because obviously we needed to be together. I think we needed to be together to work our way through that. And I remember after school, one of our old senior friend graduated last year. Her name is Julie. She was there to comfort us too, and it was nice being able to see her. And she was there for Amy, so I was really glad. Yeah, it was powerful being all together. But at the same time, when we went there, we still had a couple laughs, and it kind of took our minds off things, and it was nice being able to have those couple laughs. I think Lance ate something super spicy.
Come on, Lance. Ready? 10 seconds. Set, go. I expected that.
And that was probably the funniest moment that happened that day. It was just nice to think about something else. Because usually we're the type of group that doesn't take a lot of things seriously. We always see each other in like a laughing way. We always joke, but that was the one time we were all treating something as serious as this. And it was the one time where hardly anyone was making any jokes.
So what we did was, that like brought us together, was we set up an entire like memorial outside of our, like normally where we would sit. And we brought tables, and like I brought like a bouquet and like all these art materials for people to write notes down and like send them to his family. We set up tables, we like communicated with the principal and the whole school pretty much, and we were like, if you want to show support, please do.
And we had like a poster too. Yeah, I just think it's really amazing that we all did that for him, and like I'm glad that I get to be part of this friend group that really cares about each other.
That was kind of everyone's way of, well, that was some people's way of like grieving, and then for others it was kind of just not really talking about it unless we were around like our friend group, because it was like a safe space.
We definitely got together closer, and I know a lot of us matured because this was actually I know some of us, this was their first time experiencing death. So a lot of them matured, and I think that matureness really brought a lot of us together, because although our group doesn't really take a lot of things seriously, that was one of the things that really made a spark in our personal growth.
I think it helped us all like kind of understand that like friendship is valuable, and as much as like you joke around with someone, it's important to kind of like end a conversation or just like end the day like on good terms. Like whatever it is, you can always figure it out later. Like I think Alessandro really held together like the friend group in a way. So when he wasn't there anymore, like it was hard for a lot of us to kind of just like come back to what was like our normal at the time.
I mean, honestly, at least for me personally, it kind of makes me appreciate you guys more, because I know how fickle life is. And just knowing that he was taken so suddenly and very, like, I didn't have a lot of news beforehand, but it's really just made me kind of enjoy every moment with you guys more and more.
I felt like it made me appreciate more what I had, you know, and don't like, you know, take it for granted.
I felt so close to him before. Like he was always there when I needed to like rant about like my teachers, or like we would always like talk about food, or like talk about like new clothes to get. Like I know this sounds very like random. Oh my gosh, yeah, and also the NFL. His favorite team is the Seahawks. So I kind of like developed new appreciation for them, I guess. I think like one of my favorite memories of him was when he pulled out a salad at lunch again. Like one day, like from like Costco or something, I don't even remember. He was like, not this salad again. And then I remember he was like begging someone for like a sandwich, like a bite of their sandwich. I just thought that was so funny.
I remember he was also one of the first people to greet me every time I went to that spot. He'd always be like, you know, hey, it's Lucas, you know, and he would always say hi, and that's something I missed a lot after he passed away. I missed having that greeting every single time.
The way that I kind of tried to like honor him, I guess, was just by getting close to his parents and just kind of like talking to them. And also I remember like Jer and Mr. Vo asked me for help for like a vigil, I think is what it's called. Yeah, I guess that kind of helped me kind of come to terms with like the fact that it had happened.
It still even really hasn't hit me that he's gone, because it just feels like he moved schools, or he moved to another state or out of the country. It feels like he moved away rather than being gone. I don't know if it'll ever feel like he's gone to me. I think in spirit he'll always be with us, and someone who we never forget. Whenever we get together, he'll be with us somehow.
It changed me, but I don't know how to put it in words, you know?
But I remember that also the day I found out, I was just really upset because I didn't get to tell him like how much he meant to me, because like everything's like so light, you know, like when you're around your friends, you're just joking around. Like I never truly got to tell him like how much he changed my life and like what he did for me.
Are we vlogging right now? Oh, is there Elma help? Oh my god.
He's like, you can play if you want, but I don't want to get hurt.
Your banana's blocking my face.
It looks
No
better.
one wants to see her. I already know what it sounds like.
Today is our last orchestra concert ever, which I can't wrap my head around right now. It may hit me after the concert, but it also hit me that there are only 3 lunches left in the school year, which I thought I had more time to hang out with my friends during lunch, but I gotta divide my 3 days into the people who I usually hang out during lunch, which I kind of vary around, but I thought I had more time, you know, but I'm trying not to look too far into the future right now. I'm just trying to focus on what I have in front of me right now. That's been my mentality, just to try and take everything as it goes. So one last concert. I started orchestra at Highland Oaks in 4th grade, so that's the earliest you can start in school. Same as my mom. I remember I did not like playing at first. It excited me in some ways because it was the first time I was learning a musical instrument, but I hated practicing. I hated practicing so much. I had a couple friends in orchestra. Middle school, I had a small group of friends in orchestra that I went with, including Amy, but I remember once we entered 9th grade and it was quarantine, I wanted to quit. I wanted to be done because online orchestra had some of its benefits, but I hated it. I really hated it. Because my mom always told me that high school orchestra is different. It's a lot different and it's worth the try. So, but I never got to experience that first year, so I really wanted to just be done. I was seriously about to quit, but I remember Amy and my mom were both just, you gotta try it again. So I was like, might as well try it in person once. If I don't like it, I can quit, but I might as well try it in person once to see how it goes. Yeah, thank God I stayed in orchestra. At that point, I remember Amy was part of orchestra council. I don't know how. I think they had elections, but I mean, I didn't pay much attention in online school because I didn't know how high school really worked, but she, being who she is, found the position anyway. And the thing orchestra council hosts in the summer is a music camp right before school starts. And I remember she just kept, come on, you gotta join, you know, and I did not want to join. But a part of me did, because I was excited to see people again, even though it wasn't people I knew. I was just excited to get back out in the world. I knew Farah, I knew Amy, so I was like, I might as well do it. I have nothing better to do, so let's do it. I think that was when things really started to change for me in orchestra, because I met 2 of my closest friends there. I remember walking into that orchestra room and seeing Gavin. I knew Gavin before because we had basketball camp 2 years in a row, but I hated Gavin. I hated him because he was better than me in the camp. And so I didn't like that guy. Even though he was a nice guy, competitively, I did not like him.
I started in basketball, you know. I was going to 7th grade actually. I was like literally just minding my own business. And man, it was kind of weird because like in the corner of my eye, this is like my first impression of Lucas, like my very first impression of Lucas. We were doing like, you know, those defensive slides like around like the perimeter of the court. I was like, yo, this guy's kind of fast though. We played together. I remember you would cock back your shot like way behind your head and you'll still make it. I'm like, what the hell? Once I was like an incoming freshman, like the same music camp, and I remember just sitting like sitting on the ground. I was like, hey, you're the guy from like basketball, right? And we were like, yeah, I'm. So I think that's where we kind of like broke the ice officially, you know what I'm saying?
But he remembered me, and I had no one else to go to, so I was like, might as well go to Gavin. And then with him was his friend Sebastian from Dana.
I remember going into music camp in my freshman year. I was a little nervous because the transition from middle school to high school was kind of a big thing. This one guy in my sort of cabin, we had these cabins, not real cabins, but music camp, we kind of grouped together in these like cabins, right? He was kind of standing a little aloof, but he looked really cool. So I kind of wanted to get to know him. I talked to him. I wanted to know who he was because he always kept his name tag in the back, so I didn't know who he was. I had to cross-reference the list of everyone in our cabin to figure out who this guy was, and that was Lucas.
Those 2 guys were the start of the change in my orchestra journey because they made orchestra fun again, being with those 2 guys, and the 3 of us have really stayed consistent as this trio.
Like orchestra is really when like our friendship like blossomed, you know. I mean that was like really where I just made it official. I was like, oh, you know, these two are like my really, really like good friends in orchestra.
And I think their youthful energy and just the excitement of going back is what really brought us all together.
I think we stuck together all these years because we're all different, but we sort of complement each other.
It's day 2, guys.
We're all like messed up physically in some way.
We should have slept more.
Got like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
I feel like sophomore year was when I really started thinking Lucas as like my really, really good friend in my high school years.
Wait, what's inside? What's in what? The water. Inside. You hear something? Shut up. Don't actually do this to me.
Junior year came, of course, we weren't in any classes. You know, I tried out for a symphony orchestra. I couldn't make it, but I felt like even though we didn't have any classes with each other, you know, I could like hit him up anytime. You know, you want to like hang out, you want to go eat, and then like we just hang out, and it's like we just picked off of like where we left off. You know, it was easy to just like talk with him.
And then beyond that, I slowly started throughout the year rekindling old friendships, especially with Farah, who was someone I was friends with in middle school, but I was never close with.
So responsible, helping unload the truck.
Best OC member. I'm just kidding. Don't post that.
I'm posting it. I'm posting it. Having all these friends in orchestra again made it so much different. And the fact that we were the best now. The middle school orchestras, you're not the best. You're not the top of the game. But once you get to Arcadia, you start becoming not only the best in Arcadia, but one of the best in the state. And I think that was awesome. That was also a big change for me because playing music became more fun. Playing together became more fun because we were so good.
Gavin. So, what? This is a video log. Yes, bro.
Hello.
Okay.
Best friend.
No, you're not.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, you are.
Just the whole experience that sophomore year, I remember thinking, God, I'm finishing all 4 years with orchestra. My other friend group is definitely the orchestra squad, which is made up of all my orchestra friends, and we all kind of came together in such a random time.
It's very gradual, you know. I don't recall like an exact moment where like, you know, it became official, but like I just remember, you know, concert orchestras where like it really started, which was my freshman year and Lucas's sophomore year. It was me, Wilson, Lucas, Sebastian, Max.
I was good friends with Sebastian and Gavin already in the beginning in concert orchestra. I think it just happened to be friends of friends, and then we kind of started talking more.
So it was the trio, right? Of course, Lucas and Amy were already close. Amy and Farah were close, so I guess like that kind of brought us together.
Came like the turning point with me and Amy because we both had a really big, like we were both really competitive, and then with OC, us having our roles as president, vice president, we learned how to like get over it and then like collaborate.
Wilson was someone I also met in sophomore year, and he became part of our group.
All right, guys, I just want to make a little complaint. This guy Gavin has screwed up.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think for San Diego, Wilson was in our cabin group, so that's how we got to know him.
And then the year after that, I don't remember how I met these two guys, but we instantly connected.
Aiden, Josh.
Welcome back, guys, to the vlog.
Those two guys are like peanut butter and jelly. You see them all the time, everywhere. You never see one without the other.
I mean, I came in with no friends. I didn't know anyone, literally no one. The only people I knew were like Drew T and Max, and that's because we came from the same middle school. And so I came in with like an open mind. Let's see who I can make friends with. And then I became friends with Josh.
Push me back, push me back.
Oh no.
I met Aiden in my sophomore year, his freshman year. It kind of just clicked. We just became really good friends. I wasn't close with him in middle school actually, so like I don't even think I talked to him that much. I just knew he was like annoying. He was annoying. Still is a little bit, but okay, I'm kidding. I don't know. I didn't think he was that bad.
I feel like a lot of times I'm just looking at him, he's just eating. He doesn't know how to put down a fork.
Oh my, let's see it. Oh my goodness.
I have no idea where those two came from. They just appeared one day. Can't imagine class without the clowns.
These guys are always eating the most weird
See what
weird
the
stuff.
geniuses are eating.
Oh yeah.
For me to join those two guys, and we became our own kind of trio in a way. It was so much fun because we would they don't hold back with their humor. I don't do either. I don't hold back with my humor. So we kind of bonded in that way.
I'd say it's definitely because we were all in the same orchestras for all the years.
We went into symphony together, and so it was us three. Lucy was still there, but I think Florida is when I kind of really all kind of clicked together. I had this kind of special pass, and
You want to elaborate?
no, it's okay. And I had 3 people under it, and I was like, let's pull one more. And I was like, Lucas is cool, very cool. And then that's kind of how we just got to know each other a lot more.
Before every orchestra period, we'd go to the restroom. 10 minutes, I think. So that was like a daily routine. And that definitely I don't know, there's a bond to that.
Yeah, that was fun.
It's kind of weird to go into the restroom together.
The thing that made them different was that they also take those serious moments so seriously.
I think I got really close to them on the San Francisco trip. Oh, I was friends with them before, but like I got close to them on that trip.
I already knew Gavin and Seb and Max, and we all kind of just joined together. Amy and Farah came along.
Last year, I had a really hard time that you guys really picked me up and then let me join your group, and then that started everything else.
Sarah joined a little later.
Hello, vlogger. Hello, vlog. Good morning.
Good morning.
She's the youngest. I guess she's the baby of our group, but we all love her very much.
I mean, I knew Sarah through CYMG. Me and Josh, we had this organization together for chamber music.
Meeting Sarah in Florida was like I remember thinking she was a senior, but then I found out she was a freshman. And I was like, wow. But then I was just so excited that I would get to spend more time with her.
I think it was all of a sudden when I finally realized that I was in this group, but I think the actual forming of the group happened over such a gradual time. It wasn't obvious until all of a sudden, whoa, I have 12 friends.
Having that class all 4 years, well, at least for those 3 in-person years, you're with your friends every single year. So that's why I feel like my bond with them is so much stronger than most of my friends.
Honestly, it's a lot of work jumping between different friend groups, so you might as well put them all together, I guess. And that's how our orchestra friend group came to be.
God. I get beat up.
The class is so special and different because obviously it is such a different class. You are playing music, you're not writing, taking notes, there's no tests really. You are just there to perform the best you possibly can.
The people generally who are very committed in orchestra, it kind of attracts good people. I think the orchestra program is a magnet for those kinds of open, friendly people that commit themselves to kindness, which definitely helps with forming friend groups.
You think we'll do good, Max? Huh? You think we'll do good?
I think as long as there's no rushing. Don't be bad.
Yeah.
No rushing.
Orchestra is where I learned a lot of my life lessons because I've been in OC since freshman year, so then it gave me a lot of leadership, taught me how to be more extroverted. It really gave me a community that I could turn to and not really be afraid of talking to anybody in there because I knew that everyone there was also coming from the same place I was.
And I think that's what really made the difference. And the trips. The trips bring you together.
I think it was the trips that made us all closer.
They are literally the most memorable part of orchestra, and if not orchestra, then my whole high school experience,
We went to San Diego, we went to California Adventure a couple times, we went to San Francisco, but the big one was Florida. Oh man, there's so many memories from the trips. I think San Francisco was the funniest trip.
The most recent one that I remember is Josh getting locked out of the room.
Oh, that was stupid.
Let me in! Let me in!
You guys locked him out.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good clip. So
they said they were pooping or something, and I just wanted to get in the room.
Just poop and let me in! Please! Fly me to the moon.
Oh, I really like screaming when we were at Great America.
the best memories I had there was when we went onto that cruise and, you know, there was like a Category 6 hurricane around us, right under the Golden Gate Bridge and everything.
What's up, guys? We're in a light breeze.
And I think in that moment, you kind of forget a lot of your struggles and your worries, and you kind of just live in the moment, which I also think orchestra does for you very effectively. So
Even, I think Disney last year, where it was the 6 of us, was really fun.
What?
Hey, what do you mean? I'm scared of the
Yeah, San Francisco, we were all having fun, but then Disney, I feel like it's when everyone mostly got closer.
This is too cramped. This is way too cramped. Oh my god. Oh, make violence, bro.
Florida itself had so many fun memories. I remember going on Velocicoaster at Universal. That was fun. I was sitting next to Joshua Law, and at the end we both just looked at each other and we were like, oh my god. That is one of the best coasters that we've ever been on.
We're so ready for this. Ready for this, Josh?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We're about to die, bro. This is actually gonna end, bro.
Honestly, if I had to like pinpoint one memory that was my favorite out of all the trips, it'd be that day we went to Disney Springs or whatever.
Josh, you ready for Disney Springs?
Yeah.
Oh my! Look at all those options.
Why would we eat here? I don't understand.
That was fun. Cause it's like everyone else was like tired from the day, but then you, Aiden, and I were like, oh, let's go out and eat. We might as well. We're literally in Florida, Orlando.
Hey, City Springs.
I know. Are you okay?
It's very spicy.
And we kind of walked around. It's really nice. It's something I treasure, yeah.
So those little moments, karaokeing at the Frozen ride, that was so much fun. That was one of the best memories.
I would say my most memorable experience would just be going on Grizzlies, you know, at night, and then we would just it would be like 8 p.m. We would finish eating our dinner at Disneyland, you know, those nacho fries or whatever. Yeah, the one we stole from Max.
I got y'all!
Seven times in a row, no protection from the water at all. No change of clothes at 10 p.m.
Even the small things like riding the bus together on the way to the airport or on the way to San Francisco or San Diego, and just having those fun conversations and laughing and singing. It's kind of every moment, it's its own memory.
Those trips, those moments gave me my most memorable experience of orchestra, and that's where I feel like orchestra is definitely worth it. You know, the highlights are so high that it equals everything out.
Beyond just being a class that was really fun, it also kind of ran my social life a little bit. There was a lot of connections I had because of orchestra, and I give it a lot of credit for who I am today.